My name's Monica. I'm a metabolic health coach. I've been doing it for 25 years and have learned a lot of things, especially when it's related to insulin resistance. And it's become something that has become very important to share because people need to know about this. You know, such a huge population, 93% of our population is insulin resistance and has metabolic health issues. So it's all about education. And this has been the missing link in my lifetime career is insulin resistance and relating the two. I've helped people, lose weight, exercise, all those things, taught them how to eat right, but it never lasted because we didn't address this issue. So this is a very important conversation. We're doing it at this time of the year because the holidays are here and it's one of the most stressful times of the year where we engage with a lot of eating, visiting friends, and drinking and everything. So it's really, for us, it's an important time to discuss that. So I have two very special people here that they're going to be speaking with you tonight. One is Shawana. She has been in the medical space for over 25 years. She, is not only in the medical space herself, but she's also been seeing a lot of patients, and she's going to share what her experience is so far. And then we've got John here. He happens to be my husband too. He's been in a very high stressed corporate career his entire life and has gone through his own challenges with metabolic health. And he's going to share a lot what's happened with him since he learned about insulin resistance. So kind of to lay out what we're going to do here today, I'm going to be sharing with you. Let me go to my screen over here. A little bit what insulin resistance looks like because for most of us, we don't know. I did not. So let me go over here for a minute here and give me a second. I'm not the best with technology sometimes. So here we go. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Because it's perfect. Okay, so this is what we are talking about here. The root of today's health struggles. And I want you to kind of take a look at this little circle on here where it says insulin resistance, because and this is just a small portion of the symptoms that we may be having when we're insulin resistant. And it's not something that happens right away. We could be insulin resistant for, oh my goodness, 15 years. These symptoms that we're experiencing are building up. And then all of a sudden we go to the doctor and the doctor, tells us we're type 2 diabetic. And we wonder how this happened. It did not happen overnight. So look at some of these signs and symptoms here, frequent urination at night, hungry, the munchies all the time. If you're tired after eating, that was kind of I used to have that, and I thought it was because my body was digesting food. I felt like laying on the couch and going to sleep. If you are, cravings all the time, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, fatty liver, just look at some of these. And a lot of times, insulin resistance first shows up on our skin, like skin tags, psoriasis, that skin pigmentation, these are all signs. And if you have slow metabolism, as it gets worse, we might have memory problems, this is a big thing, like Alzheimer's, and those kind of things are all now recognized as type 3 diabetes, and they start with insulin resistance. And here's the beauty, it can be reversed. And that's why we're going to talk about this tonight to educate you a little bit on what's causing it and how you can turn it around and, not suffer and end up being type 2 diabetic or even with worse of these conditions. So let me stop sharing this for a minute here. And we're going to introduce someone very special. I've known Shawana now, I think, for what is it, 5 or 6 years? We've
Longer.
crossed paths. Yeah,
I think
probably longer.
longer. Yeah.
Yeah, we met in coaching. And it's funny how you cross paths many times in our life, but she's a very special person in my life. And she's been, like I said earlier, in the medical profession now for over 20 years. So, Joanna, why don't you go ahead and share a little bit what you have learned in this space and what you have gone through yourself learning about insulin resistance?
Being in the medical field for over 20 something years, I've struggled. I've yo yo dieted for many years. I've lost it, I gained it, depriving myself, trying different lifestyle eating strategies. That's what I like to call them. And, and I'd never found anything sustainable. It's like I said, I would lose it, and 5 months I would go back into my bad habits and gain it back all again. And I didn't understand why I was struggling. As I had gotten older, anxiety kicked in, sleeping issues. I was always bloated all the time. I didn't know why. Constipated, didn't understand. But what really caught me, what I didn't understand was why I had anxiety, why my sleep was interrupted. I, that part, I didn't understand what was happening. And then when I learned about insulin resistance, I'm like, oh, wow. Being in the medical space for all these years, never, ever had I heard of any. I didn't even know insulin was a hormone, first of all. I just thought it was a medication given to people who were diabetic. Now I understand it's a hormone and it had a lot to do with what I was going with. And eating 2 to 3 times every 2 to 3 hours, frequent meals throughout the day, not knowing shouldn't be doing that. It's just a lot of things that I learned in this past year alone. I'm like, I, all these years, I struggle for nothing, you know. So I come here, I come to this space, I use the platform um, to educate people for anybody who want to hear. Because even me being in the medical space and me just trying to speak to the patients, ears are closed. They only go by what their doctors are basically telling them. So
True.
just to briefly, I had a conversation with a patient. I think it was Monday, and she was talking about her struggles, and she's diabetic, and she thinks it's because it's genetic. She was like, "Oh, it's not reversible because it's genetic," and I'm like, "That's not true." And she was like, "Yes," and it's like us going back and forth. And she was like, "Oh," and then she was talking about people who are overweight. All they got to do is move, just move and stop eating. And it's like that's not it. So it's like she was like, well, and for me to go back and forth, I said, this is why I use the platform. I said, for me to try to speak to people in this space, it's a back and forth, and people don't understand. I said, so I use the platform because I can't get that back and forth really.
Right.
So it's just speaking to whoever wants to hear, who wants to learn, and not for me to have to go back and forth because they don't understand. They don't, because we've been taught all wrong.
It's pretty wild that you're in the medical profession and everybody thinks that you know everything. This is something you just learned. So what kind of has happened in this last year or so when you have been now learning about insulin resistance in your own life? Using the protocol we're going to talk about here in a minute, but also addressing it with patients.
That part is also a hard thing. So a lot of times I just listen because again, when I do express, it's I get the I'm not gonna say the wrong feedback. I just get the feedback of what we've been taught for so many years. So I basically, eventually, I just shut down. And then when you try to let them know that there's something natural, it's like, well, I have to lose the weight first. When I lose the weight first, and it's like, then it's like, but you have to understand that part. And people want to get on the synthetic drugs, trying to lose the weight first. And then I also had a couple of patients this week. It's like everything was happening like kind of this week. Speaking about the synthetic drugs and how they had to stop them. They like I tried it for a few months, and they were like, oh, how it was bad on their stomach, the side effects that they had from the injections, and they're like, oh no, they had to stop. And I want to talk about the all natural product that I've been educating on for the last year, but because people ears are closed, it's like sometimes. But the lady that I was going back and forth with, she did take my card. I haven't
Excellent.
worked with her yet, but she did take my card. you know, so
So in what do you see with the amount of clients that you see or patients that you see? People are desperate and they're going to these synthetic like Ozempic, Manjaro, Wegovy, all those things.
mhm.
What is your Like, how many people do you think are going that route? People that you are even seeing have gone because they're desperate.
I see a lot. Just looking in their charts and as I'm charting them, I see a lot of people on the Ozempic. What was the other one? The semaglutides. You know,
Yeah, there's so many of them.
yeah. So, when I'm in the rooming them, I just go over confirming their medication. So I'm like, oh, you're on Ozempic? And they like, yeah, and I just stop it there, and I feel like because I'm in this space, in the medical space, that I feel like I have this openness, to be able to access, but it's not that easy. And I wish it was. I so
Well,
wish it was.
well, you're taking it to another level. You are now on social media. I know that you're educating people on TikTok so you can
Hmm.
reach more people.
Oh, yeah.
You're on Instagram. You're doing this here, so you're going to be on YouTube and everything. So it's incredible that you're doing this because people do need to hear this message. We're going to share with you a natural protocol that is not a drug. It's a nutraceutical that people can use that's going to first of all save them money, save their health because the side effects are absolutely horrible on the synthetic GLP-1 drugs that are out there that people are using. And we understand it. It's because you get desperate. Like you mentioned, we've been dieting and going up back and forth our entire lives, and it's a struggle. So let me kind of go through here and feel free to step in with what I'm talking about, both of you, as I'm going to share this here on the screen. Hold on a second here. Let me share my screen again one more time. So what causes insulin resistance? And let me know when the screen is up so we can see. Is it here? Good,
Yeah.
thank you, John. So it's not our fault. That's the biggest thing we need to realize and not beat ourselves up for. It's not our fault. Big Pharma is not on our side. They're making a lot of money on giving us medications, and the food industry is not on our side. Everything that we're eating nowadays has been highly modified. We're not eating the same foods our grandparents ate, or for some of us who will order, our parents ate. The fiber's been removed. In this picture here, you can see, I mean, if you drink apple juice, it probably takes, 5, 6, 7 apples to make a glass of apple juice, and it's just sugar. It's like drinking sugar water. The fiber's been removed. And then we look at some of our favorite things like rice. It's bleached and everything's been removed from it. And then on top of it, and I've been in this space, and I know Shawana, you have too, teaching people when we were coaching that we were taught that they need to keep their metabolism going, so you need to eat 3 meals a day and snack all day. Well, lo and behold, that's the perfect recipe for insulin resistance because if you're eating and snacking all the time, our blood sugar, our insulin is raising up and our blood sugar is up. And that is what causes us to, over a period of time, become insulin resistant. Kawana, you want to add something like that? Because this is something that you're very familiar with.
Oh, did you say me? I'm sorry. Yes.
Yes.
Sorry. But yes, so I was eating every few hours just because that's what they said help metabolism. Even to oatmeal. So I talk about this because I thought I was in a good space. Okay, eat oatmeal, bananas. Think I was doing something good, and didn't understand why I was hungry an hour later. I was like, this doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, why am I hungry? I'm eating oatmeal. Like it's supposed to be fiber. I'm supposed to be full, and it never triggered until since I've been doing this the past year. I said, oh, because it's full of carbs and it was just like spiking and crashing. And in that 1 hour, it wasn't even 2 hours. I felt like I was hungry an hour later, literally having a nice big bowl of oatmeal and bananas and hungry an hour later. It didn't make sense.
Yeah, it's a vicious circle. And
Mm-hmm.
it raises our blood sugar, keeps our insulin up, and our body only has two sources of energy. It's from either the food we're eating or
Mm-hmm.
the stored energy we have on our bodies. And what we've learned is to incorporate reduced meal frequency so people aren't eating all the time and adding back the fiber that's been taken out of our foods. And when you give your body a break from eating all the time, your body actually has a time to heal. Did you want to add something to that, John?
Oh, that covered it pretty well. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Well, I'm going to introduce John in just a moment because he's got a fabulous story to share with everybody. So hang tight. Thanks, Shawana. So what we have here is we have a protocol that is phenomenal. It's a nutraceutical, it's all natural. We have even kids using this. There's no side effects. It's bringing back the fiber that's been removed from our foods. And this is not a fiber like a benefiber or a metamucil. Those are really good to help you go to the bathroom or go poop. They keep you smooth moving. But this here actually has 7 fibers in it. 4 of them are patented. And what it does, actually, this has been studied by the University of Sydney. That's the glycemic, and they created the glycemic index years ago. And they showed that if someone takes this fiber before a meal, they can reduce their blood sugar glucose spike up to 28%. The Cleveland Clinic, the #1 heart hospital in the world, also studied this because they were looking for something where people can not have to get on statin drugs. Think about how many people are on statins. Well, this will help keep, you know, that done, your cholesterol down. So it feeds your gut microbiome. It helps reduce the IBS, constipation, diarrhea, skin conditions, anxiety, depression, because our gut health is totally attached to our brain health. It's like having 2 brains. If our gut health is bad, so is our brain. And when you're on a fiber like this here, it's going to help a lot of things. First of all, the fiber is really easy to take. You mix it with water, shake it up, put it in a bottle with water, like about 6 to 8 ounces. Shake it up and you just chug it just before you eat a meal, and it's going to make it so you can't eat as much. It turns into a thick gel in your belly so that you're more satiated. It aids in reducing the amount of dietary cholesterol that's going into your bloodstream. So it's kind of like a carb blocker. And it helps, supports good weight management because you're not eating as much. And it's wonderful in, incorporating into time-based eating. So it's going to really give you the blood sugar spikes aren't going to be there. It's going to keep everything level. So it's really a remarkable fiber. So we'll show you how to get that in shortly. The next thing I absolutely love, and this is comes from a plant from South America. And what the company did is they took the best parts of this plant and they incorporated it, purified it, and all you do is sip on it in your window that you're not eating, in your fasting window. Because I mean, most of us have fasted before. I used to, get a headache. I felt I had to eat all the time. I thought I had to eat before I worked out. Now, instead, we get up in the morning, we mix this with water, hot or cold. They have different flavors, and you just sip on it till you break your fast, which is usually around 11 or 12 noon, and it supports a feeling of well-being. Like, you guys, have you noticed that when you're drinking this, you feel happier? It's a mood enhancer. Have you guys felt that?
Yes.
Certainly have.
It's incredible. I have a lot of anxiety, and this has helped with my anxiety levels. But it also helps with the cognitive health. It's great for a pre-workout. And one thing is, remember we were talking about the Ozempics, the Manjaro, all those drugs. Those are synthetic GLP-1s. This here helps increase your GLP-1 that your body is already producing naturally by 67% by just sipping on this. So it's remarkable. So I sip on it in the morning after my fast and I eat lunch. I'll sip it on in the afternoon. And I know that now I'm burning more fat for fuel on my body. So I mean, you think about it for a minute. Someone is taking Ozempic or Manjaro or something like that, and they're having serious side effects from digestive issues. I mean, it gets rid of your bone mass. There's just so many things. Why would someone want to do that if they can use a natural nutraceutical that won't have any side effects? So that's kind of an idea of that there. And that's basically it. So all you do with this protocol, you drink the Unimate in the morning, wake up, start sipping it hot or cold. At lunchtime, you can take the fiber if you're having a big lunch, just take it just before you eat. After your lunch, drink another unamate. And then just before your biggest meal, take another one of those fibers. And it's going to be remarkable what happens to you. So myself personally, I lost 25 pounds in 90 days, 4 dress sizes and inches, just following this protocol. And for over 3 years now, I have not counted calories or dieted. That's food freedom. It's awesome. So that's enough about me. Anyways, so anything you want to add to that, Shimona?
Me being on it for over a year. So I just had my labs done last month. I am not insulin resistant. My fasting insulin, I think, was 3.4.
Oh,
Yeah. My HDL, I think, was 99. My triglycerides, I forget what it was, but it was like below. Um, and I take the products. I don't deprive myself. I don't. I never counted calories. First of all, that didn't make sense to me. But I still, I still eat. I still enjoy um, my lifestyle, and I've been able to maintain something I haven't been able to do at all for over 20, maybe 25. My son is 27. It's about that time. Um, and it's like, well, I'm already drinking something. So it's like, this is so easy. I don't like to take pills. I always say, I'm so comical when it's trying to take. I was like, if I was being recorded, me trying to take a supplement, a pill, I will win. I will win like the world's funniest video or something because it. That's why I never supplemented. That's one of the things. And also I didn't take supplements because I didn't know what was in them. I didn't trust what was in them. Um, so then I found you, Monica, called me, and and that's how I got introduced to the products. And I'm like, I'm in. I'm a trier. I'm a trier. And it's like a week after the inflammation, the pain in my knee was gone. The hip pain was gone. I was sleeping through the night. Like 4 weeks later, I wasn't bloated anymore. Like my stomach had gone down just in 4 weeks. Um, and I'm like, wow, is this happening? Like, I'm like, so I'm not going to stop. If I found something that works and it's not bothering me, it's helping me. This is plants, this is vitamins and nutrients, something I didn't get because, again, I didn't supplement. I know I wasn't getting enough fiber. Definitely. That's why I was constipated and bloated all the time. Um, and this works. It's easy, it's super simple. And yeah, I got my mom on it. She was on 5 medications, 2 blood pressure medications. She's on half now. She's been monitoring her blood pressure and it's low, so she probably don't even need blood pressure medication anymore. Um,
wow.
yeah, she couldn't really walk up the steps. Her inflammation in her knees are down. She's walking up the steps. She's squatting. So I had to record her. I take a video of her and I show that. It's like she's 70. She's 72 on Sunday and she's
Wow.
squatting in something that she was unable to do for a very long time because her knees were so bad. And she's walking up the steps, not holding the rail. She's squatting, and she's feeling good. And she knows what the products are doing. And she's like, she's going to continue. So,
Yeah. Why
yeah,
stop using something that's working
exactly,
and
exactly.
easy?
And
Exactly.
easy. Yes, yes.
Well, thanks, Shawana. That's incredible. And I want to introduce like John now, that handsome man there. That's my husband. Anyways, he's had quite a journey himself. And he's been, and like I said before, he's been corporate America, all that stress and everything. And that builds up and does a lot of things to ourselves, our bodies, and our health as well. So, John, go ahead. Why don't you share with everybody kind of what's happened to you and the journey that you've been on? Because it's wonderful.
Sure. No, thanks, Monica. It's a pleasure to be here with you and Shawana. And I want to back up a little bit. Before my stressful corporate career, I had a stressful childhood. I was raised in an alcoholic family, stress galore. I saw a lot, and that led to a lot of emotional eating. Emotional eating is real, psychological eating is real. And I became addicted to food. And not only that, I was raised at a time where ultra processed foods were just taking off. So picture yourself in the 60s and the 70s, okay? And anything convenient was all the rage. I mean, if you had a microwave and a TV dinner, man, you were set. And so during that time, given the combination of high stress, emotional stress, and of course I love to eat anyway, I put on weight and I was obese at a very young age, very young age. I grew up being the kid in the locker room that hated to be in the locker room, catching a lot of flack in the hall, just a lot of bullying as I was growing up. So the emotional duress of that is real, very real. And so anybody that's going through that, that's listening right now, you're not alone. I know, and so do a lot of people know exactly what you're going through. So listen on. So going through childhood, very much like Shawana's story, yo-yo, up and down, back and forth. I wanted to lose it and then it'd come back. And finally, during high school, I was able to drop like 60 pounds before I graduated from high school. And through my early adulthood, I kept that weight off. I was very active. I had a physically demanding job at the time growing up in Oregon. I was a logger, which you could eat as much as you want and not have to worry. You talk about food freedom, be a timber faller, and you don't have to worry about it. But growing up, so yeah, going into my adult career, more stress, as you had mentioned, going in out of college into the high tech business in the industry, aerospace, starting out with a security clearance, a lot of responsibility, a lot of stress along with that. And coming to a new town, coming to Colorado, I started wanting to get into meeting people and new friends and the whole scene coming out of grad school. So alcohol again was very central to that. And soon I found myself more and more addicted to alcohol as well. Put on a lot of weight that I had lost and kept off during my young adulthood, but into my 30s and 40s, it came back. And so, again, years of chronic anxiety and stress, coupled now with insulin resistance. And if you go back and think about what Monica showed you, all of those um, uh, dysfunctions that insulin resistance plays a key part of. I had so many of those, it's scary. And so I was really kind of a train wreck metabolically coming into my adult years and through my adult years. And so one thing that I will add, and I just reposted this today, and we were talking about insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and its relationship with stress. I just read a post today and I reposted it on social media that recent studies show when you couple high anxiety with insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes, there's an 81% more likelihood that you're going to die, given that deadly combination. This is a new study. It's a wake up call, and it should be a wake up call to anybody that's listening that has that combination. And so, again, I got on this protocol. I met Monica, who's my started as my business partner and my wife now this year. I thought I'm going to give this a try in earnest. And I've been on the protocol now for 8 months. I've been alcohol free now for 8 months. I just decided at a point in my life I had to make a change or I was going to die. And I'm still in recovery and I'll be recovering all the time. But I'm down 30 pounds now from April. Edema, inflammation greatly reduced. Clarity, the mental clarity that was mentioned earlier, has been a significant, something that I've noticed. But I had visceral fat. I had put on that real hard to get rid of fat. Your belly's really, really firm and tight instead of jiggly. You've got problems. You've got the deadly fat, that visceral fat. That wouldn't budge, and it came off. It came off. And so starting the Feel Great system for me was huge. I'd seen what Monica was doing with all these people, and I was still in my corporate career, which I just retired from, in pivoting over to becoming involved in this protocol. But it's been like night and day for me. And that's what gave me all the more impetus to share and get in this business and really promote this protocol. But for me, it's been phenomenal.
That's awesome. Thank you, John. And I've seen the change. I mean, you also
Yes,
had
you
a very
have.
bad, yeah, and you've also had a very bad injury. You
I did
shattered your femur last year, January. It's almost a year now.
in January.
And
Yeah.
that made you immobile, so you couldn't even move. And it was during that healing process that you made a decision to stop the alcohol. And it, without being physically active on the system, it's been remarkable what you've achieved. So
Yes.
I just want to
Yeah.
reiterate, it's not a diet. This is diets mean deprivation. This is a lifestyle change that's easy. Can you imagine having food freedom? You know, just drinking your Unimate twice a day and taking this fiber before your meals. I mean, how much simpler can that be, right?
And I'm
Pretty
glad you brought
simple.
that up, Monica. The whole deal, started off 2025 kind of rough in January in Costa Rica. Fell and shattered my femur, emergency surgery, and that had me laid up. I mean, I could not move. I could not walk for months, and it was starting the protocol and getting this energy, getting the weight starting to come off without a lot of strenuous exercise or dieting. To me, that really was a telltale to the really getting into the biology and the microbiology of how the system works along with your system in tandem without having to starve yourself. It's amazing.
It is really amazing. Thank you. And just before we finish and wrap it up here, I wanted to share this here. This protocol has only been introduced about 3.5 years ago, and we now have collectively over 1 million people using this protocol, changing their health without medications. Here's just a few people here. This is the gentleman. His gout's gone. His A1C went from a 13.8, that's serious, down to a 5.9. He also, the side effect of this is if you need to lose weight, you're going to lose it. You know what I mean? It's not a diet, but if you have weight to lose, it's going to go. He's off all his medications, no more gout, almost 90 pounds gone. This gal here, she's been on the protocol. Her cholesterol, 76 points, triglycerides, 120 points, lowered her blood pressure, no longer has sleep apnea, and off all medications, which is remarkable. So when you get on this protocol, just let your doctors know. I let my doctor know I was starting on this because he wanted to put me on a statin. This is in the physician's desk reference. They can look it up. That's the doctor's Bible where they look at everything. And the only reason this protocol is in the physician's desk reference is because it has all the clinical studies. There's over 20 clinical studies on this. Here's another gentleman, 50.2 pounds gone, A1C 7.9 down to a 5.4, and look at all the other things that have happened to him. And this gal, 63 pounds, no longer pre-diabetic. Think about yourself for a minute and maybe people you care about, how many people this could affect that you love, that you could, share this with. So it's really something remarkable. And the company is really gracious. They're now in 63 countries and they give a 90-day, 100% money back guarantee on this protocol. That for me was a no-brainer. I have spent thousands of dollars on buying shakes, trying meal plans, had stuff delivered to my house, the gym, all those things. And nobody ever offered me a money back guarantee. When I heard this, I went, oh, well, I can try it for 90 days and see how it works and no problem. Company couldn't even do that if the protocol didn't work. So that's something really special. And the cost involved, it works out to $5 a day. I mean, think about that for a minute. If you go and grab a coffee every morning, how much are you spending on coffee every day? We just flew somewhere and we went to get coffee and it was $16 for just two coffees between us at the airport. I mean, think about that for a minute, or the snacks we buy. So this is $5 in investment in your health. Anyways, anybody want to add anything before we send everybody off on their happy Friday nights?
I just want to say, like, so much of what we've been taught about health, about weight loss and metabolism and our nutrition has been so wrong. And I'm glad that we are spreading this awareness on the platforms. And I think it's at the tip of a lot of metabolic speakers or doctors, and that's a good thing, because people need to understand what's actually happening and why they are struggling. And there's ways to fix it. There's just simple ways to fix it. There's a lifestyle way. I call this simple. This is simple, and there are lifestyle strategies that you can implement in your daily life to reverse the struggles that you're going through. But if you want to kickstart it, it's like all natural right here, and you don't need to deprive yourself. And that's how I coach. It's like this is not deprivation here. This is
So
just strategy, strategically eating, you know, a right way, just to balance everything the way your body's supposed to work.
Awesome. Right on the beam.
right
Thanks.
on. Yeah.
Thanks,
Food
Shawana.
freedom. Food freedom.
Yes, yes.
Yep,
How
for
about you,
sure.
John? You want to add anything before we
No,
call
same thing.
nights?
That's one thing I've enjoyed. I mean, I love bread. I love, all the stuff that is typically loaded with carbs, very complex carbs. And so this gives me, and I do it in moderation now. Of course, alcohol I have cut out of my diet. And I think that's one message. If you want to sabotage your health, drink a lot of alcohol, and that'll do it. And so I'd say if you're really serious about your health, no matter what protocol or what you try to do, either cut your alcohol way back or just say, hey, I've had enough. And pay attention to the science and the studies coming out just in these last 5 years that are really showing the damage that alcohol does. So alcohol is now where tobacco was, 15, 20 years ago when it was really getting attention. And now it's uh, it's being shown that not only the societal impact, but most importantly, the impact on your health. So there's one message I would leave. If you're struggling with alcohol, get some help and give it some serious consideration before continuing to use, especially given the holidays coming up.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And you know what? Now they have all the mocktails. They're pretty
That's
awesome. They
right.
even have really great tasting
That's
fake
right.
beers, I call it.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. So you can make alternative decisions or choices. Make good choices. That's a good one. But if you know any of us and you're watching this, reach out to us. We're here to help you. We can give you our discount, what we get, because we're on this every single month using this protocol, and we'll help you get started and change things for yourself. So thank you for being here with us today. It means a lot to us, and we're doing this to spread awareness. So we'll make sure to follow Shawana. What is your who are you on TikTok? What's your name on TikTok?
Medical assistant Shawana.
Perfect. And you're also on Instagram and Facebook.
Yes. I
Okay.
think on those platforms, I think I'm as helping others maintain on those two.
Okay. Excellent. Well, you're awesome out there. And John, I know you're on LinkedIn. Why don't you let everybody know who you are on LinkedIn?
Yes. And again, LinkedIn is just my name. You just go to, if you want to see my content on LinkedIn, just type in my name and you will find me there. And I'm just now starting to get out more on other social media as well. So more to come.
Okay, sounds great. Well, thank you guys for being here tonight and putting this time out to help other people.